Well team, we are once again right on the cusp of the end of 2022, and as with last year, I thought it'd be fun to do a roundup of my favourite phones released this year. But this time around, instead of just choosing winner picks based on pricing tiers, I instead wanted to make the categories a little more specific, and after spending quite a bit of time refining this list, I decided on the following categories: the best design, the best value, the best camera system, the best flagship phone, and finally, the big one, the outright best phone of the year. And please keep in mind, this video is going to be highly subjective and pretty much every winner is purely based on my preferences alone. Oh, and one other thing to note is that for a phone to be eligible for a nomination in any of this video's categories, then it had to have been featured on the channel in one way or another throughout the year. And so if your favorite phone was not included on today's list, then check to see whether I even reviewed it at all this year. I'll have a playlist linked up in the cards and down below. And if I didn't, well then that's probably the reason it's not featured in today's video. But with that being said, let's get on to the first category. All right, we're gonna start with perhaps the easiest category for today, which is the best phone design of the year. And I say easy because in a day and age where phone design is, let's be honest, getting a little stale, there was really only one brand who attempted to mix it up. You can probably guess who that might be, but I do first want to give an honorable mention to the Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus. And even though the design of these phones is quite similar to last year's S21 lineup, it really is one of the cleanest designs on any smartphone. And you have to give Samsung props for how thin and symmetrical the bezels are on the front of the phone, which just makes it look drop dead gorgeous. So even though I love the design of the S22 and S22 Plus, they do lose points for being otherwise pretty basic. And so the ultimate winner of best phone design of 2022 has to go to the Nothing Phone 1. And yes, I acknowledge that they've kind of taken a lot of design cues from the iPhone lineup, but for mine, they've only taken the absolute best bits like the flat display, the uniform bezels, and the flat sides, and then they've either improved upon other areas of the iPhone design, like giving us matte coated rails, or have just gone in a super unique direction altogether, as seen in this radical transparent glyph style design on the back of the phone. And look, as much as the lighting elements themselves are a bit of a gimmick, I still absolutely love the look of this phone, and you can't deny that its design is a serious talking point. And I'm excited to see how Nothing builds upon this and improves things even further for their next release. Following that, we have the best value phone of the year. And this category is not just about having the most affordable device, but instead about offering the best bang for buck. And for most users, this is the phone I would probably feel the most comfortable recommending, given the features it offers versus its price tag. Last year, the regular Pixel 6 won this category, and whilst I am going to give significant honorable mentions to the Pixel 7, it is not the phone taking out this category this time around. The main reason being that it is just so dang similar to last year's Pixel 6 that for a lot of people, last year's Pixel 6 is actually probably a better option at a far cheaper price. The Pixel 7 is still a great phone, but there are just not enough improvements over last year's device that deem it worthy of taking out this category. And so my winner for best value phone of 2022 is actually the Galaxy S22. Now, yes, this phone was actually a little more expensive at launch compared to the launch price of the Pixel 7. However, I also think it really did justify that slightly higher price. You got a better display with uniform bezels all the way around, better battery life, a blazingly fast fingerprint sensor, better haptics, a much more versatile camera system, a more customizable software experience, and these are all features that I personally place high priority on. Now, the Pixel 7 does gain a point back for having just an outright smoother and sleeker software experience, but that is not enough to win this category over the otherwise excellent S22. And thanks to the fact that we're now quite close to the release of the next Galaxy S23 lineup, you can now find the Galaxy S22 for as low as $600 brand new, or even $400 for a refurbished unit, which is seriously incredible bang for buck. And then we have the award for the best camera system. And I do want to give huge honorable mentions to both the Pixel 7 Pro and Galaxy S22 Ultra, both of which have outrageously versatile camera systems that make taking photos and videos at a huge range of field of views really easy. And I have to say, I certainly had a little bit more fun with both of those camera systems compared to the eventual winner of this category. But what prevented both phones from actually taking the crown here was their slight inconsistency. Whether it be the inconsistent video quality from the S22 Ultra or the autofocus and slow lens switching issues on the Pixel 7 Pro, neither phone gave me the absolute confidence I'd like to have when shooting photos and videos with my phone. And so perhaps a little unsurprisingly, the winner of this category goes to the incredibly reliable iPhone 14 Pro. And yes, whilst this phone does feel like it has less shooting options compared to either the Pixel 7 Pro or the Galaxy S22 Ultra, you do get just enough versatility with that ultra-wide, the wide, and 3x telephoto lens to still make it a great and pretty fun camera system to use. But then more importantly, the images and videos captured using any of the 4 lenses on this phone, selfie camera included, look pretty much the exact same across the board. And for me, that aspect is the most impressive feature of this entire camera system. Add on to that we have an improved cinematic mode, a new and impressive action mode, which offers world-class stabilization, albeit at a slight decrease in image quality. And even more than that, we have incredibly reliable autofocus, crazy fast lens switching speeds, and the fastest capture speed for any smartphone on the market. And it really is the best and most reliable camera system you can find on a phone right now, and therefore very worthy of taking the crown in this category. All right, from there, we have the award for the best flagship phone of the year. And to be applicable for this list, you have to firstly be over 1,000 Aussie dollars, but then secondly, you have to be the highest end version in your particular phone lineup. And I do want to give honorable mentions here to both the Pixel 7 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro, both of which are absolutely stellar devices that jam-pack a lot of features in, including 120Hz displays, versatile camera systems, plus a heap more. But with that being said, the ultimate winner of this category is actually the Galaxy S22 Ultra. It has a really nice design reminiscent of the discontinued Galaxy Note lineup, which I really like. It has a really versatile camera system with 2 dedicated telephoto lenses. It has the outrageously feature-rich software that a lot of us really enjoy, as well as fantastic haptics, really great speakers, a fast, fluid, and amazingly bright display, a super reliable fingerprint sensor, and then add on to that it comes with an S Pen built right into it. And I mean, I'd love to find anyone who thought the phone was lacking in any area. Battery life was the only slight concern with this phone, as well as the huge form factor, but neither were deal breakers at all to me. And so for me, if money was no object, then this phone is the clear winner. And so finally, we have the outright best phone of the year. Now, as I mentioned last year, this category really comes down to 3 main factors: how good a phone is in terms of categories that I personally place high value in, whether the phone is good bang for buck, and then finally, whether I've decided to leave my SIM card in that phone once I've finished reviewing every single phone of the year. Essentially, if I had to return every phone I've reviewed this year and buy just one of them to keep as my own, then the winner of this category is the one that would fit the bill. But first, a couple of honorable mentions here. The first of which being the iPhone 14 Pro, which again, I really enjoyed reviewing this year, as well as the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which, as you just saw, won the best flagship phone category. But for me, there was another phone that offered nearly everything that those phones offered, but at a much friendlier launch price, which therefore helped it to claim this particular crown. And so if you haven't already guessed, then yes, the winner of the best smartphone of the year is the Pixel 7 Pro. And last year, I actually gave this award to the cheaper Pixel 6 thanks to how similar it was to the 6 Pro, but with a much cheaper price tag. But this time around, Google decided to give all of the significant improvements to the bigger Pixel 7 Pro, therefore separating the gap between the two devices even further. For one, you get a much better camera system with a wider ultra-wide lens that has autofocus and therefore supports macro shooting functionality. You also get that 5x telephoto lens plus the 10x crop mode. And this year, I actually prefer the haptics on the 7 Pro, which I think are currently the outright best haptics in any smartphone right now. You also get a noticeably faster and sharper display, as well as better battery life compared to the regular 7. And so even though I reviewed the regular Pixel 7 last this year, I pretty much immediately threw my SIM back into the 7 Pro, and it is now the device I'm going to be using for at least the next few months. And to be honest, even though it is a little more expensive than the regular Pixel 7, if phone size isn't an issue, then I'd actually recommend most people interested in picking up a 7 to spend the extra couple $100 to get the bigger brother. And that's simply down to the improved display and much better camera experience that, for me, make this phone so much more of a step over the regular 7. And so I just don't want people missing out because they saw that the 7 was a bit cheaper. Now, don't get me wrong, the regular Pixel 7 is still an amazing purchase and I do highly recommend it, but this year, I actually think spending the extra money on the 7 Pro is more than justified. But there you have it. Those were my winners for the best smartphones across the year of 2022. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on my picks down in the comments below. And if you disagree, let me know which phones you would have picked instead across the various categories and why. Aside from that, if you enjoyed the video, then a sub to the channel would be amazing. But that's it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you later.